Hello and welcome to MovieSnacks, the channel that aims to get you the most out of your streaming services. Now today we're going to go over the top 10 best horror films that you could stream right now. Availability is subject to change with time, but I'll post a full list as well as where you can stream each of these films, and I'll put it in the top comment pin below. The horror films that are on this list are all about quality, so each one is going to contain elements that set it apart from your typical run-of-the-mill slasher flick. With that said, let's get started. Up first we have It Follows. College student Jay begins dating Hugh, a sweet but strange boy. Right after the two have sex for the first time, Hugh disappears from her life. Before he leaves for good, he reveals that he's leaving behind a curse for her. Now, the idea of a monster that kills teenagers for being promiscuous is not a new concept in horror. We've seen it before many times to the point that movies like Scream make fun of the trope. However, It Follows takes this idea and makes it completely fresh while also touching on themes like abuse, self-sacrifice, and the inevitability of death. This original approach is supported by good acting and a great retro score. Now, it does break some of its own rules, but it's still a lot of fun and one of the best horror movies to come out in the past 10 years. Up next, often ranked as one of the scariest movies of all time, The Exorcist is much more than just a good scare. When a teenage girl is possessed by a mysterious entity, a mother seeks the help of two priests to save her daughter. The Exorcist is an incredibly well-paced story that is brought to life with believable actors and special effects that still hold up today. The movie maintains an atmosphere of dreamy malevolence punctuated with moments of extreme psychological horror. It's a tale of morality presented as the ultimate battle between good and evil. It forces the viewer to face some heavy issues concerning faith, guilt, redemption, religion, and what it all really means. The power of this movie lies in that even if you're able to let the initial horror wear off, what remains is a masterpiece of storytelling with great philosophical depth. Now, if there's one film that could be argued against The Exorcist for being one of the best horror movies ever made, it's Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. A family heads into an isolated hotel for the winter where a sinister presence influences the father into violence while his psychic son seeks horrific sights from both past and future. In my opinion, this movie is a complete masterpiece. There's not one aspect of this movie that wasn't executed to the highest level. We get a great story, an incredible performance from Jack Nicholson, perfect pacing, and an amazing musical score, but what really stands out in my opinion is how meticulously technical this film is. The cinematography is just out of this world. Every detail and every shot is there for a reason and adds to the story. There's books and documentaries made on the messages that are hidden, riddled throughout the visuals of this film. Seriously, I've seen this movie 1,000 times, and every time I watch it, I'm just blown away by some detail that I completely missed on a previous viewing. This isn't just one of the best horror movies of all time, this is one of the best films of all time ever made, period. Now, I know this next one's controversial with many people wondering, is it really a horror movie? A wealthy New York City investment banking executive, Patrick Bateman, hides his alternate psychopathic ego from his co-workers and friends as he delves deeper into his violent, hedonistic fantasies. We're of course talking about American Psycho. The truth is, American Psycho definitely falls into the horror genre, and the way it toys with that line is what makes this horror movie one of the better ones. It's a horror satire which manages to thrill, make you laugh, and deliver strong intentional messages about materialism, consumption, desensitization, identity, and isolation, just to name a few. Christian Bale delivers one of his best roles of his career, and that's saying a lot for his body of work. This movie's downright hilarious at times, it's super quotable, and has a very distinct pacing and visual style. Behind all the laughs, there's a chilling portrayal of American consumerism and our warped values, all told through the eyes of a complete psychopath. It's a film that's open for interpretation and just a thrill to watch. Now, I love a good witch movie, and this one here might be my favorite. In The Witch, a family in 1630s New England is torn apart by forces of witchcraft, black magic, and possession. Atmosphere and authenticity are in no shortage here. The team behind the film studied rumors and folklore from the 17th century to uncover what society believed witches to actually look and behave like at that point in history. The movie's atmosphere creates a sense of dread and suspense throughout the entire film. I really like how well balanced this movie is in terms of the horror imagery they show you versus what they leave to your imagination. I think what I love most about this movie is the ending and how they didn't hesitate to go fully through with the concept. In our next movie, paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren work to help a family that's being terrorized by a dark presence in their farmhouse. The Conjuring started one of the most successful horror franchises of all time, and it has many sequels. Although not exactly original in concept, this movie has managed to become cemented as a horror classic since its debut. I believe this is a sum of all parts scenario. I don't think it does anything particularly outstanding, but it executes on all elements of the haunted house and possession subgenres to add up to an overall solid horror flick. It has style, jump scares, atmosphere, tension, and characters you actually get to know and care about, which help raise the stakes. It's just an overall well-made, fun, and easily digestible movie that fans of the genre seem to love. Now, it's rare to come across a remake that's actually better than the original, but 2018 Suspiria is exactly that. A darkness swirls at the center of a world-renowned dance company, one that will engulf the artistic director, an ambitious young dancer, and a grieving psychotherapist. Some will succumb to the nightmares, others will finally wake up. This remake is a sharp contrast to the original film's dreamscape color palette, and it offers much more in terms of story and gore. As I said before, I love a good witch movie, and this one here kind of gives me the vibes of that 1990s The Witches movie, you know, the one where they're like turning kids into mice, but like way creepier and turned all the way up to 11. This has a great cast with excellent performances and some really cool dance choreography. However, it's not for the faint of heart. There are some really brutal and disturbing scenes. If you can handle all that and you're into witch movies, go cross Suspiria off your checklist. It's a must watch. Honestly, I'd be shocked if you haven't seen this next film, and that's M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense. A frightened, withdrawn Philadelphia boy who communicates with spirits seeks the help of a disheartened child psychologist. This movie was a cultural phenomenon when it came out at the time, thanks to an unforgettable performance by an 11-year-old Haley Joel Osment and the now super iconic M. Night Shyamalan twist. But maybe some younger people viewing this haven't watched it yet. If so, don't look anything up about it, just go in blind and enjoy the surprises the film has to offer. For everyone else, we know that M. Night Shyamalan has some serious misses in his career, but when he used to hit hard, and The Sixth Sense may be his best work. Definitely worth a rewatch. In our next film, 5 friends set off to visit the grave of a grandfather. On the way there, they stumble across a deserted house, only to discover something sinister inside. Something armed with a chainsaw. That's right, I'm talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. This film is like the creepy doll sitting in the dark basement. The older it gets, the scarier it becomes. This was the original slasher movie, and there have been countless attempts to replicate it, but none have matched the gruesome and blood-soaked horror delivered here. Hansen does an amazing job as Leatherface, managing to act in a bizarre and terrifying manner that is still human despite no dialogue. Edwin Neal's Hitchhiker is truly a memorable performance, and of course the cook also adds to the horror. There's also more than meets the eye here with the satire on animal cruelty and automation. You may have seen the remakes and spin-offs that came after this, but if you haven't, make sure you watch the one that started it all. Last but not least, we have the Babadook. A single mother, plagued by the violent death of her husband, battles with her son's fears of a monster lurking in the house, but soon discovers a sinister presence all around her. This is another relatively new haunted house / possession type of movie that was made on a shoestring budget. With exceptional performances from Jennifer Kent as the mom and Essie Davis as the child, what it lacks in outright scariness, it more than makes up for in message and style. The Babadook entity in this movie serves less as an outright monster and more as a metaphor for grief and mental illness. The characters are layered, the plot twists and turns, and the conclusions are ambiguous. Now, everyone seems to have an opinion on this movie. If you haven't seen it, don't let it pass you by. Alright, so that's the list. Hopefully you found something worth watching. Make sure to let everyone know what you think about these movies in the comments below. Also, please be sure to hit that subscribe and that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all the best movies available to stream. Thanks for stopping by.